Hey, what's going on everybody? Desir here with a round 2 matchup for Cosmic Crucible. Today we are going against Bottom Feeder, and this is going to be a rough one, so when I upload the matches for this one, we're going to do it in order of how I actually did the attacks. So it's not going to be in room order, it's going to be attack order, so you can kind of see what I was working with, and hopefully you might be able to get something to take away from this matchup. Now, as a reminder, if you do like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm really pushing for that 1,000 subs, so every little bit helps. Without further ado, let's go ahead and look at Bottom Feeder. So Bottom Feeder is only about 89, about to hit 90 million TCP. So this is going to be a 5 million punch up. However, this is going to feel like a 20 million power punch up based on how his roster is. He did a really good job as far as min-maxing. He doesn't have a lot of wasted TCP, and he also has that Mephisto, so he has that new Kraken energy, as Dorky likes to call it. But let's go ahead, look at the defenses, and see where he has Mephisto, if it's on defense or offense, and how we're going to try to tackle this. So in Stage 1, he has Infinity Watch. Stage 2 is a Mercs for money with Apocalypse and a Pre-Taunt in there, so that's going to pull quite a bit of my weight already. For Stage 3, he has the X-Treme X-Men. He took Gambit out and put Dorm in there, and that's a pretty big team at about 3.2 million power. For Stage 4, he has Black Knight, Rogue, Gambit, and the Tangled Web. Stage 5, Darkhold with Doom. And Stage 6, he has the full Spider Society at about 2.7 million power. So Bottom Feeder does have Black Knight and Apocalypse on defense. That means he's going to have Super Skrull, Mephisto, and Superior 6 Cabal on offense. So he's going to have a lot of offensive power, so I have to try to be really efficient with this. So let's go ahead and start our attacks. We're going to start off by going into Stage 2. We're going to use our Cabal, Zemo, and Apocalypse. Now Zemo's in here to hopefully get rid of the pre-taunt from the zombie Juggernaut, get that early crit so that way we can get moving with that Cabal team. The Apocalypse is here as an insurance policy, sadly, because they do have that Apocalypse with the Old Man Logan, so I just want to make sure that we don't wipe on this and we can get that one shot. So our Zemo will be going first in this matchup. His passive went off, and unfortunately we didn't get rid of the taunt that's on the zombie Juggernaut, so we're going to use the Zemo special into the zombie Juggernaut. Iron Patriot goes next. He does a special that was able to clear a lot of those positive effects. The assist comes in and takes zombie Juggernaut out. Now Apocalypse did use the ultimate, however because of the Cabal team themselves, they make it to where the Apocalypse doesn't get to Falcon Punch right away, so I have some time. Namor is stuck on the Panda Pool, so I'm going to use the ultimate, and that does get rid of the Old Man Logan. Now that our Apocalypse is up, I'm going to target the enemy Apocalypse and use the ultimate. That way you can use that ISO attack to get that extra damage on the enemy Apocalypse. Now we're going to use the Falcon Punch to take care of the Panda Pool. Based on how this matchup played out, we actually didn't need the Apocalypse, so it looks like the Cabal, Zemo, and whoever you want as a fifth, as long as they're good enough, is able to take this team out, and you're able to use that Apocalypse elsewhere. The next hardest room I wanted to try to take out was going to be Stage 3. This is a very big 3.2 million X-Treme X-Men with Dorm. And that Dorm is also 2 diamonds, so he is a very beefy guy. We're going to use our Masters of Evil with Northstar, and this is a 1 million power punch up. Now, in hindsight, I should have switched the Northstar either to a Raider or Skirmisher in this matchup, and I'm going to point out why. If I did that, this would actually go a little bit differently. So in this matchup, our Titania will be going first. I'm going to target the enemy Forge and use the ultimate to get the ability block on him. Kang is up next. I'm going to use the special into the Forge. That does end up hitting the adjacent target. I get the ISO attack on the Forge as well. Now he's very low health. For Moonstone's turn, I'm going to use the special on the enemy Nightcrawler to get the trauma stun on him, and that basically just makes his turn pass. Absorb Man is up next, and here I'm going to end up using the ultimate. Titania is up next. Again, I'm going to end up using the special into that Nightcrawler. I want to make sure by the time I use the Kang ultimate that he will get killed off. So right here, Northstar ends up using the ultimate. I cleanse all of those revive onces. However, when I used the Kang ultimate, I was able to take out Forge, Nightcrawler, and Sunspot because of the ISO attack. I needed to use the ultimate on somebody with vulnerable, and Dorm did not have a vulnerable on him, and now you're going to see what happens. Dorm right here is 2 diamonds, and he basically solos my entire team. I was feeling good for a while, but I couldn't get through his health pool. So I do need to go in here for a cleanup after this. I think I just threw some random stuff together as the cleanup. It was a very fast cleanup, so you're not going to end up seeing that. It was mainly due to time constraints of this video. So let's go ahead, go to the next fight. So after dropping that stage 3 fight, we go into stage 4. This one here, we're going to use our Superior 6 into the Black Knight, Gambit, Rogue, Tangled Web. I felt pretty good about this one because I've done the Superior 6 as the counter into a Black Knight team like this in stage 4, but let's see what happens on this one. So Lizard's going to go first because of the Tangled Web members on the other side. I used the ultimate and I didn't peel any of the buffs off of that Black Knight, unfortunately. Green Goblin Classic is up next. I'm going to use the ultimate to do a nice turn meter rewind to the enemy team. Kraven's up next, and we're going to use the special into that Black Knight, and that does end up hitting everybody and takes out those Tangled Web members. Doc Ock is up next. I'm going to use that special to get that shocker out on the field. So right here, we end up doing the ultimate into that Black Knight. Usually this ends up killing him. However, in this matchup, I didn't do enough damage on those assists, so the Black Knight does end up living. That does change things in this matchup. Shocker, we do end up doing that special. Rogue ends up doing the special to put the taunt on herself. Our Green Goblin Classic is up. We're going to use the special into the enemy Rogue. So now we already lost our Lizard, we lost the Shocker, and now the enemy team is starting to get that momentum because we didn't kill that Black Knight from that Spider Slayer ultimate. Right here, the Black Knight ends up doing the ultimate, and that does take out our Spider Slayer. Kraven's up, we do the ultimate, that does take care of the enemy Rogue, but we lose Kraven in the process. We're going to try to focus down the enemy Gambit. We're pretty much going to wipe it in this matchup because of the team that is left on the other side of the field. But if we can take out the Gambit, that's going to make the cleanup very easy because once Black Knight gets that exhaust, he's pretty easy to take out. Now, I do end up wiping at the end of this, and I do have to go in for a cleanup, which you guys won't unfortunately see. The main reason for that is this video is going to get kind of long, and these 2 very easy cleanups, I don't think it's worth showing, but I will show the cleanup teams at the end when we go to the results portion. So let's go ahead and go to that next matchup now. For stage 6, I'm going to use my Secret Defenders with Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now I did use this team on round 1 against a Spider Society with Quicksilver, but because of Spider-Man War being in here and being adjacent to the Penny and the Peter B. Parker, that does make it very difficult because of the stealth that he's going to put on them in turn 1. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. So the Spider-Man Noir is going to be going first, and when he does the ultimate, he actually targets that Cosmic Ghost Rider, which is probably the worst possible thing that can happen. Ms. Marvel highlights up next. I end up targeting the Spider-Man Pavitra and doing the ultimate, so I can try to get a rewind on the Ghost Spider and the Penny. And this is what I'm talking about where the positioning really messes it up. I'm not able to use the Black Cat special to get a stun on the Peter B. Parker, so instead I choose to go for the Spider-Man Pavitra. Ghost Rider Robbie does end up doing the ultimate here, and that does get a lot of bleeds on the other side of the field. Spider-Man Noir does the special, and that is more damage to our Cosmic Ghost Rider, so he's pretty much going to bleed out before I could do anything with him. Photon does the special into the Spider-Man Pavitra, so we try to get some blinds out there. Unfortunately, Peter B. Parker took his turn and removed all those negative effects that we had out on there. Ghost Rider Robbie's up. I'm going to target the Penny and do the special. I was hoping to maybe get a few flips on that special, which didn't end up working. Black Cat's going to do the ultimate to peel those buffs off of the Penny. And now the Spider Society team is going to start rolling over us. Here Penny does end up doing the ultimate and does some pretty significant damage and stuns our Black Cat. The Spider-Man Pavitra does end up bleeding out, which is the best case scenario that we can have right now. So right now I'm just going to try to do as much damage as I can and think as far as how I'm going to do the cleanup. Because we already dropped those 2 matches in that stage 3 and stage 4, I don't want to back out of this. So I'm just going to try to do as much damage as I can, and we're going to prepare for that cleanup. For stage 5, I'm going to use Kestrel, Ironman Infinity War, the 2-piece Tangled Web, and Nova. This used to work in the previous seasons for Cosmic Crucible, so this should work just fine here as well, even with those revive onces on them. The Spider-Man 2099 will be going first. We're going to target Agatha and use the ultimate because we should actually need those death proofs just in case of emergency for this matchup. Spider-Weaver is going to use the ultimate to put a trauma stun on Doom, that way we don't have to worry about him getting pushed. The Kestrel does end up getting the ping and kills him, however, he didn't get pushed there. Nova's up. We're going to use the special on the Wong to put the stun on Wong so we don't have to worry about the taunt. We have the charges up on Spider-Weaver that is going to protect us from the Morgan Le Fay when she ends up doing that ultimate and those basics. So for Spider-Weaver, we are going to use that basic on the Agatha because we had that charge still up on the Spider-Weaver. $20.99 is up. We're going to use the special on the Morgan Le Fay, and that is going to get some splash damage to where Kestrel can get a ping. Nova's going to use the ultimate on the Morgan Le Fay, and that does call in another ping from Kestrel. Kestrel's going to use the ultimate, and that does flat out kill the Morgan Le Fay, so this is going to be a lot easier to deal with now. The Ironman Infinity War is going to use the special on the Heartless, that gets the ability block. He does get a nice rebound chain, and Kestrel's able to take out the Doom. Weaver's going to use the ultimate that gets rid of the Heartless, and now we have a very easy cleanup on the Wong and Agatha. So honestly, this part right here is where things really go sideways for me. To kind of shorten the video, I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek of what's going to happen. I'm going to do 2 attempts with the War Dogs into the Infinity Watch. This doesn't go well. I'm just going to show the opening of these matches, and then you're going to see why I actually get really upset with myself. And I pretty much went full Dulom on this when you never go full Dulom. So for the start of this attempt, I used Nakia's special to go into Philo-Vel. I was going to try to take her out first, however, something ends up happening and I end up losing my way. Black Panther 1 mil does the ultimate to take those buffs from Philo-Vel, that calls the assistant, and I get the ISO hit. Okoye, I target the Gamora, I use the special to do a turn rewind to the entire Infinity Watch team. Black Panther does a special to get offense up into Philo-Vel. Shuri does the special here, so I get the charges on the team. I use Nakia's ultimate into Nakia. That is a nice rebound chain. I get the assistant. Gamora takes her turn and does the special. This is where I end up losing my way. I end up shifting my attention over to the Gamora because I knock her down fairly low. The Black Panther 1 mil, I end up targeting the Gamora and I use the special, and that was the big mistake. I start knocking the Gamora too low. Okoye, I do the ultimate onto Gamora, I take that revive once off, and now I'm stuck on the taunt with Moondragon. That ends up basically shutting down this counter for me. They target down my Nakia, and here, after I lose Nakia, I end up backing out and I decide to try it one more time. So let's take a look at the second attempt that I end up doing. So this is the second attempt that I end up doing into the Infinity Watch with the War Dogs. I do end up wiping on this one, and then I go in for a cleanup. So let's look at this one to see what happened. So for this attempt here, I decided to actually go towards Moondragon first this time. So I use Nakia's special into Moondragon. I do the Black Panther 1 mil ultimate into Moondragon. My thought process behind this one was, let's get rid of Moondragon so that way she doesn't remove all of our buffs and kind of shut us down. So that's what I'm going for. Okoye, I do the special into Nebula, I get the chain across. Black Panther, I do the special into Moondragon, that calls the assistant. So right now everything's working perfectly fine. However, something else ends up happening on this one that causes me to basically mess up. Nakia, I end up doing the ultimate into the Moondragon. That does a pretty decent rebound chain. That calls the assistant. And now Gamora takes her turn and ends up getting a nice AoE hit on our team, which is perfectly normal and how this counter works. Black Panther 1 mil, I do the special into the Moondragon. That is a pretty good rebound. So here for Okoye, again, I target the Gamora, I do the ultimate to clear that revive once, and now Nebula has the taunt on herself. I keep forgetting that it's when Gamora drops below 30% health, the taunt goes on an ally, so that's where I keep messing up. I should have used the Okoye ultimate on the Nebula if I was going to use that at all, and then finish off the Moondragon. Same with the first one. I kind of got greedy. I went for that Gamora when I should have just stayed focused on the Phyla-Vel. So I do feel the War Dog counter still does work. It's just you don't want to really mess up the counter by knocking the Gamora low. So I'm going to let this play out, and then we're going to look to see what I used to clean this up with. And you're going to find out why I got so angry at myself for this. So when I went through my cleanups, I did stage 6 first, and then I believe I went to the stage 3 and 4 for the cleanup. So for this cleanup here, I ended up using the new warriors. Because the Spider-Man Pavitra is already dead, this is going to be a really good counter as far as a cleanup into the Spider Society. So without the Spider-Man Pavitra, we don't have to worry about him putting the vulnerables on our team, causing it to where we lose our evades. There, the Spider-Man War does the ultimate, and we actually got to dodge it. So that's perfect. Gwenpool's going to use the special, so that way we can flip a lot of those positive effects into negative effects. Firestar's up. I'm going to target the Spider-Man Noir and use the ultimate so I can do a turn meter rewind to the Penny and Peter B. Parker, along with the trauma and all the bleeds. We're going to spread those negative effects from the Noir over to the Penny and the Peter B. Parker. Cloak is going to use the ultimate. And because of how this team and this room works, we're spreading a lot of these positive effects to our adjacent allies. Beggar ends up doing the ultimate as well. Gwenpool, we got to use the ultimate, and we actually got to permakill the Spider-Man Noir and Peter B. Parker. The Deathpool Pings got to take care of the Penny, and now we just had to worry about the Ghost Spider. So this was a great cleanup and worked perfect, especially without the Spider-Man Pavitra on the other side of the field. And this was the moment I really was kicking myself, and I was really mad at myself because of this. I'm so used to the Darkhold being on defense, or me recently using a Morgan Le Fay as the Merc for money counter. I forgot I had a Darkhold team that it could have used, and this would have been easily able to one-shot the Infinity Watch. So because we already knocked the Infinity Watch down to where they all had the exhaust and they don't have the revive once, this is a very easy cleanup, and this would have been able to one-shot it without the sack as well. So Morgan Le Fay is going to start by doing the ultimate. Doctor Strange Heartless, we end up doing the special into the Gamora to do a turn meter rewind. Agatha's ultimate was able to take care of the Moondragon. Wong, we end up doing the ultimate, so now we have a taunt on herself, and we're just going to focus that Gamora down a little bit while we can. Doctor Strange Heartless is up. We're going to use the basic into the Nebula. Morgan Le Fay is going to use the special as well. Now the Nebula is gone. We got the ISO hit onto the Gamora. Doctor Strange Heartless does the ultimate. For Agatha's turn, I do end up doing the basic into the Phyla-Vel. That way I can call that assist in for Morgan, so that way I'm able to do more damage to Phyla-Vel. Wong ends up doing the special into the Phyla-Vel. And here Morgan Le Fay takes care of the Gamora, and we have a very easy kill on the Adam Warlock. So I'm very upset about myself because this room could have been a one-shot if I remembered I had Darkhold for offense. So my opponent did end up dropping 2 matches while I dropped 5 matches. The score at the end of this was 49,369 to 48,145. Now there were definitely mistakes that I made, however, if I would have cleaned up those mistakes, this would have been a whole lot closer, which I'll go over those after we look at the defenses, because I know what changes I should have made, so I definitely learned something, and I did get something of value to take away from this matchup, so I definitely appreciate this matchup, so thank you for that, bottom feeder. But let's go ahead and look at the defenses now. So for stage 1, I did the back out for the War Dogs, I did the War Dog fail, and then I did the Darkhold cleanup. Total, this ended up getting me a 75-48, and I just need to try to remember I have Darkhold for offense now, so I need to make a saved squad of that so that way I don't make that same mistake again in the future. For stage 2, I did that Cabal Apocalypse Zemo into that Mercs for Money Apocalypse with the pre-taunt. This got me at 83-67, and after watching the replay again, I do think that you can use this counter without Apocalypse, and maybe throw like Omega Red or Cable or something else in there, and this would still work, just because Cabal is shutting down that Apocalypse ultimate from getting that speed up for the Empowered Punch. For stage 3, this was so close to getting that one shot. I really think if I made that Northstar a Raider or Skirmisher, that way I can actually put the vulnerable on Dorm when I use this ultimate, then Kang could have done the Kang ultimate targeting the Dorm, and that would have got me the victory. But this still got me a 79-54, and that was a 1 million punch up, so I'm pretty happy about that. For stage 4, this got me a 79-61. Again, this was pretty close to the one shot. If the Spider Slayer ultimate would have killed the Black Knight, this should have worked. I've done this type of counter many times where the Spider Slayer ult does actually get him killed off. It just didn't work this time, unfortunately. Stage 5, this got me at 83-60. This worked just like it did in the previous seasons. It's a great counter to take out that Darkhold, which is why I took my Darkhold off of defense. And for stage 6, I got a 79-55. I was pretty disappointed that the Cosmic Ghost Rider didn't work on this one. He just got hard targeted down, but luckily I was able to get rid of that Spider-Man Pavitra, so that way I could do that New Warriors cleanup. As for my defense, my opponent ended up using the Masters of Evil into my Infinity Watch. This got them at 83-65. For stage 2, my opponent initially used the New Warriors into my Mercs for Money with Noir and a pre-taunt. That ended up failing, so they backed out and went back in with Hive Mind Super Scroll. This got them a 79-49. For stage 3, my opponent used the Superior 6 with Vulture. This got them a 83-65, and this was into my X-Men Dorm team. For stage 4, my opponent used the Seeker Defenders with Mephisto into my Out of Time Gambit Rogue team. This got them at 83-67. For stage 5, my opponent ended up using the Cabal Archangel Emma, and that was into my Hive Mind Super Scroll team. This got them at 83-64. And for stage 6, this one did actually surprise me. They initially tried Masters of Evil into my Spider Society with Quicksilver. They ended up backing out and they were able to pull it off with the New Warriors. I just never have luck when I use New Warriors into the Spider Society, so I'm just avoiding that like the Black Plague now. This ended up getting them a 79-59 for the efficiency. So as far as the changes that I would have made to my attacks, obviously I would have used Darkhold in 1 because that would have actually been able to get the one shot. In stage 3, I probably would have made the Northstar a Raider. That way I can try to get the crits and the extra damage and the vulnerable hopefully on the Dorm. For stage 4, I would have dropped Lizard and put in the Vulture on that one. And that would have allowed me to use the Lizard on the stage 6 to where I could have actually cleared all the buffs and tried the Seer Defenders with Lizard. Now, by doing that, it's still possible I would have dropped 1 attack, maybe even 2, then it would have gotten to efficiency, but I would have preferred that over dropping 5 attacks like I did. Regardless though, I did have a pretty good time going against your defense bottom feeder, and hopefully you had fun going against mine. Now if you did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.